this is not the first time we've heard this. There have been stray voices from some smaller European countries earlier, etc. Largely because India is seen as somebody that still maintains very good relations with Russia and has a fairly good relationship with Ukraine as well. Although Ukraine would probably be much happier if we stopped buying Russian energy and Russian defense equipment, but that we cannot do. Can we play a role? Yes, we can, but there are certain conditions, I'd say. No Indian government will get into a third conflict over territory unless expressly asked to do so by both sides to the conflict. And that has not happened. In Samarkand, when Prime Minister Modi told Putin that this is not the time for war, Putin also said that he was willing to sit down, but Ukraine wasn't willing to negotiate. Zelensky has been very open to say that he does not want to negotiate with Russia that still has Putin as the head. These are still maximalist positions. The Russians believe that they can go through winter and come out on the other side much stronger. But they have had military setbacks, a lot of setbacks. Ukraine will continue to fight as long as there are Western weapons and Western money to help them fight. So, meanwhile, the world is walking into a terrible recession. We have cost of living in varying parts of the world, not to speak of the developed world as well as the developing world. I mean, the global south has been impacted really, really horribly. There is an energy crisis, there is a food crisis, there is a fertilizer crisis. Not to speak of the fact that Putin has been threatening to use nuclear weapons, which takes the conflict to yet a completely different level. So somebody should think about putting an end to this war. And if you've noticed, the Indian official position has always said that we are on the side of peace. We are not on the side of, on either side, we are on the side. I don't think we have reached that point at all. Zelensky's war has become a moral war in the West. I mean, frankly, Russia has been their favorite enemy for decades, and Russia is literally an enemy that has dropped in their laps. So there's no appetite to tell Zelensky to back off at all. And Europe is still on this moral crusade. Russia's. However, on the ground, things are not as rosy as it looks from the tops of the policy-making circles. I mean, just look at Germany going back to coal. Small countries like Romania, who are not allowing their firewood to be sold. I mean, parts of Europe are using firewood. This is the 21st century. And firewood being used in a continent that is so far out in terms of climate change goals. So, if you cross the pond, or rather cross the Atlantic Ocean into America, there is the highest gas prices at the pump, inflation, the rate increases. Interest rate increases by the federal bank is hurting everybody in the world. We are literally at the mouth of a global crisis of multiple proportions. So I think it is time for people to start looking at what is the solution. Where does this war end? I would say that something like this will depend on two factors. One is who wins the US midterm elections and the kind of pressure that puts on the US Congress. Two, what happens to Europe through winter.